Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am doing a Thanksgiving makeup tag. This is a Friendsgiving tag, really, created by Dub's Beauty Diary. They invited me to make this video, and there's gonna be like a playlist of all of us making their videos and posting. So there's 15 questions that I'm going to be answering while doing this look, and I'd love to hang out with you today. So if that sounds good, keep on watching. Before we get too far into the video, if you have not already, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It is totally free to subscribe, and I would love to have you back again on the channel for all things makeup. Thank you so much to Dub's Beauty Diary, not only for creating this Friendsgiving makeup tag, but also for inviting me. I really appreciate that you consider me one of your YouTube friends to include on this, and I really hope that everybody enjoys this. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into the questions and into this look. Alright, so I'm getting ready here in stages. The hair will not be like this as we go, but to start with, I just put on the Nimia License to Glow Serum. I'm not probably going to talk about all the products that I'm using necessarily, like I may hold them up for you, but I will leave everything linked in the description if you're interested in what I'm using as I'm answering these questions. So the first question is, have you ever hosted or been invited to a Friendsgiving? I don't think so. I know I haven't hosted one. I don't think I've ever gone to a Friendsgiving. I have gone to some like holiday equivalent Christmas party, like friend gift exchanges and Friendsmas, I guess maybe you'd call it, but not for Thanksgiving. I never have. I honestly can't imagine hosting. I feel like all the work, not just like cleaning to prep the house, but the food, oh my gosh. I don't know that I would want to host just because of how much work it would have to be and how far I would have to plan out in advance, if I'm being honest. But I love going to other people's. I wouldn't mind going to one if the opportunity ever presented itself. What eyeshadow palette makes you think of a Thanksgiving feast? Thanksgiving feast. Okay, well, Thanksgiving, it has to be definitely kind of like fall colored, I feel like, to be Thanksgiving. But a feast, you know, like food wise, I think this is an oldie, but I think I'm going to say the NYX Ultimate Utopia, because there are tons of warm shades in this palette, like your warm browns and golds and autumn colors. But there's also some pops of other stuff, because I feel like that's what Thanksgiving meals are, like feasts, right? Like you have your turkey or whatever your like traditional main is, maybe like your green bean casserole or your corn, but then you've got pops of like beiges, your rolls, your biscuits, your blueberry pie or your blackberry pie, whatever it may be in there. So I feel like maybe this one, just because there's so much variety, and I don't know about your families, but the feasts in my families are normally like a hodgepodge. What beauty product are you most thankful for? Interesting. I don't know if I should be like shallow and just say, you know, my favorite, or something I'm like genuinely thankful for. I don't know. You know, maybe I'll say the one I'm using right now. This is the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Foundation. I discovered that this one this year, and I think I'm just thankful for it because I'm thankful to have found a complexion product for every day that I feel like this is my best skin. Like, it covers the redness, it covers acne scarring, but it's not cakey, and it just makes me feel really good about myself. I don't know about you guys, when I'm going and visiting family I haven't seen in a while, there's always this kind of like, so what have you been up to? You know, like this expectation, and I'm sure it's an expectation I put on myself, because that's like most of the expectations and pressures I feel are self-made. Comment if you relate. But for me, there's always this like, okay, I have to look my best and be put together and look like I'm doing well and report on my life to my relatives. So to find something that helps me feel like I look good and I'm aging gracefully and I'm not looking crusty is, I'm thankful for that. What is your favorite fall themed makeup product? Do I have any fall themed makeup products? You know what? I'll say the palette that I'm using in part today. Fall, I feel like is fall themed. The Nomad Hudson Valley eyeshadow palette. I don't know if it gets much more fall harvesty themed than this one does, because it's talking about like the Hudson Valley foliage and the trail, and you can see the beautiful fall color. So I'll say that's my favorite fall themed product. What's my go-to color story for the season? So for Thanksgiving, I do tend to go for more like the warm tones, like I talked about with the NYX palette. That could be orange, brown, yellow, red. I think those are my go-to tones this time of year. I say that not planning on doing a look like that at all today. I'm wearing this kind of like dark blue sweater, so I'm kind of doing something actually a little more cool toned in this particular look, and maybe this is more of like a Friendsgiving type look that I would be doing versus a flat out fall time on Thanksgiving thing. I don't know about you guys, how you are with your families, but like especially now that I'm married, like we have two sides of the family to go see, and so somebody gets Thanksgiving, but somebody has to have like, you know, Black Friday or the day before or something else. So it's not technically on Thanksgiving, and I don't usually go full like Thanksgiving look multiple days in a row for all the various festivities at different relatives. We're specifically going for color story for like this season being Thanksgiving fall season. I think that's what I would go for. I do have a video I'll leave linked of all of the fall palettes I recommended this year, and some of them were more like Halloween, but there definitely were more just like regular fall tones in that video. If you're interested in like specific palette recommendations, I'll leave that linked. If you could only wear one lipstick for the holiday season, what would it be? Again, I'm assuming holiday season is like Thanksgiving, not necessarily like Christmas, because I feel like a lot of people for Christmas time go with the standard like holiday red lip of some kind. But for Thanksgiving, I mean really all the time for me if I'm being honest, but especially in the fall, it's a brown lip for me. And I will also leave for you, I did do a video also on my fall lip recommendations, whether you like warm tone, cool tone, neutral, grungy, it's got it all. But I would say for me, the lipstick I'm wearing a lot in the fall is this one, and that's the one I would pick if I had to pick one. It's the Milani collab with Salt and Peppa in shade Shoop. It came with this lipstick and a lip liner. I think that's what I'm gonna wear today. It's a warm brown color, super pretty. And here is its lip liner that it comes with. What are your Thanksgiving traditions? Okay, so I think really the only tradition my side of the family has is we get together and we eat. That's truly it. We even have traditions when it comes to like what we eat. Like my dad always makes a turkey. We always have similar sides, and family just gets together. Sometimes it's just been me and my brother and my parents. Lately, as we've gotten older, it includes my husband, my brother's wife. Now he has a daughter as well, my niece. So that's always a tradition. We always just get together and basically spend quality time together. I think that's really the only thing. When I was younger, a lot of the holidays I would spend cooking in the kitchen with my grandparents were there and involved. And I think my one grandmother is attending this year, but I don't think my others are really up to traveling at this point, just in their elderly age. One set of my grandparents is in their 80s and my other grandmother is 91, so it is becoming harder for them to travel. Usually we don't see them as often, you know, just because it is more difficult. They live long distance, and even though it would make more sense for us to travel to them, with like being able to get off work is always hard. So it's a challenge. I wish it wasn't. But I think that's really just our only family tradition, is just getting together. All right, number 8's prompt says, most of us don't wear makeup on holidays, which I'm not most people apparently, because I always wear makeup on holidays. But what is one step you will not go without? I'm gonna say probably the product that I said I was grateful for this year, and that was, I mean, it could be just foundation, a skin tint, something complexion-wise. Just because my skin naturally, I feel, is so uneven that I just hate how scarred it is often from acne. It's the best it's ever been in my lifetime right now, but that doesn't mean I have perfect skin by any means. But I would say no matter what, even if I did no brows, no eyeshadow, no blush, no mascara, nothing else, I would at least want some sort of foundation or skin tint to even out my skin tone, because that's the thing that I've always been most self-conscious about growing up, is like big pores, textured skin, acne, just my complexion. What is your perfect Thanksgiving color story? Ooh, you know what? I think the Nomad palette is close. The one that I'm using today for Thanksgiving, this is what it looks like on the inside. The reason I say it's close is because it only has 3 shimmers, a green, an orange, and a yellow. I wish one of them were a bit more neutral, whether that meant like an actual gold or more of a champagne. That's like one of my only things, or like a light shimmer that could go in the inner corner. This is light enough for a matte in the inner corner, but I do like a shimmer in the inner corner. So this is close to my perfect color story. I think those would be the tweaks I would make to it to make it my perfect color story. What food are you most looking forward to at your Thanksgiving dinner? Honestly, okay, so again, when I was growing up and my grandparents did more of the cooking, my one grandma always made homemade pies, and I would say that was probably my favorite, just because if you've ever had a homemade crust and a homemade like filling, store-bought just doesn't compare. It just doesn't, and I know a lot of us love our grandmother's cooking, so I would say once upon a time that's what I would have said. Now, especially my one grandmother, she doesn't tend to do much cooking anymore. So I think now probably what I look forward to the most is the thing that I usually make, which is, how do I describe it? It's like a corn casserole, I guess is how I would describe it. But it's like sweet corn, and it has egg in it. It's supposed to have cinnamon on top, but I don't like that, so I don't put it on it. But it's just like a baked, eggy, sweet corn casserole. It tastes way better than how I'm describing it, I promise you. Who in the beauty community would you invite to your Friendsgiving and think deserves more recognition? Ugh, man, what a question. Well, first of all, like I said, it would be my first Friendsgiving. So it'd have to be somebody, you know, that I feel like is going to be good for socializing and mingling at a Friendsgiving. But then to say also who deserves more recognition at the same time, you know what, I'm gonna say Kim Croft on Instagram. If you're not following Kim, you should be. So Kim is from Australia, and Kim makes the most beautiful, gorgeous makeup looks, but I feel like Kim is not recognized as much as they should be. Like, Kim has like over 4,000 Instagram followers, which is amazing, but like deserves way more in my opinion. And Kim and I have had some good conversations, honestly, about gaming in DMs. And that's just like a big part of my life. I don't talk about that much on here that I really, really enjoy. And I think Kim and I like the same kind of games. And I think maybe we might have some interest in like pop culture and things like that, that it'd be really fun to hang out. And of course, beauty is a common interest for us. So I think that's who I would want to invite, and doesn't get enough credit in the beauty community. What is your signature dish you always bring for a potluck dinner? Okay, so Thanksgiving, I told you guys, it's the corn. It's what I've known for. It's what I am in charge of every year. But like a potluck outside of Thanksgiving, like if we do, I'm a teacher, a public teacher, if we do like a potluck at school, not a staff one, we do ones with like kids sometimes, especially I'm a theater director, so sometimes we're there long hours, rehearsals, we'll do like potlucks and eat together with the kids. And they always want me to bring meatballs in a crock pot, which is hilarious to me because it's not even my recipe, it's my mom's recipe. and I make that and they love it. So it's just meatballs, whatever. You can do Swedish, you can do beef. I've done chicken meatballs, whatever kind you want. And the two ingredients are genuinely only grape jelly and ketchup. That's what goes on and makes this sweet, almost kind of like barbecue-y tasting sauce on it. And it's delicious as a side to go with things. And it's super easy. You just put the frozen meatballs in the crock pot and let them heat up. They're already fully cooked in the bag. So I love it from a prep standpoint too. I will say, if you want to make it, it does get kind of runny if you use generic ketchup and grape jelly, I have noticed, instead of like Heinz and Smucker's. I don't know what it is about the name brand. But if you use the generic, it does tend to get a little runny. And then I have used a little cornstarch before if it does get runny, to like thicken up the sauce a little bit. But that's usually what I take to a normal potluck if it's not actual Thanksgiving and I'm in charge of the corn casserole. Okay, number 13, we're almost at the end here. What fragrance or scent is your favorite for the fall season? I used to really like the kind of like appley cinnamon like harvest type smells, but honestly I feel like I just overdid it and I got really tired of it. So now I do really like more of like I am not the one to ask about scents and notes and things like that, but something that is crisp. And when I say crisp, not like fruity, like leaves, if that makes sense. Like something that smells like crisp outdoors and leaves and the weather getting colder. I have no idea what scent to tell you that is, but that's the kind of fragrance. Something like earthy, I guess maybe would be the best way to describe it. But it's not necessarily like smoky. Like in the winter, I like something like campfire-y smelling. So it's not quite like that, but I think that's what I like. If you know what I'm talking about, if you know your fragrances and you know your notes and how to describe that, please help me out in the comments. Do you prefer a bold lip or a bold eye for holiday gatherings? I would say a bold eye for me personally, and I'll tell you why. It's not part of the prompt, but I'll tell you why. A bold lip sometimes needs maintenance. You gotta check on it. You gotta make sure it's not wearing away, that it's not wearing unevenly, that it's not smudging, going outside of the lines. Like I constantly feel like I am paranoid, checking, making sure, does it still look okay? Whereas with an eye look, you don't really have to touch up an eye look. It's just it's gonna be, and it'll be there, and it'll be great, and you're done. So for that reason, I think I prefer a bold eye, because it's just a little more low maintenance, in my opinion. And then lastly, I'm not quite done here, but the last question is, here's the palette I used in the finished look that I would wear to Friendsgiving dinner. So we're getting close there. This is holiday, but for family, but I would wear it for Friendsgiving as well. I use the mattes in the Nomad Hudson Valley palette, but again, like I mentioned, it's not my perfect color story with the shimmers. So I pulled from something else for the shimmers. I put a couple different Bitter Lace Beauty shimmers on the eyes. I used this one what shade is this? Happily Ever After. They're technically highlighters. They're in huge pans, but I find some of them work good as eyeshadows. And then this more bluer one that I put just in the inner corner. It's not too bright. It's like a smoky blue. That one is also Bitter Lace Beauty in shade Sea Spray. So it kind of gave this like cool toned smokiness with more of like the champagne shimmer with a little tiny pop of blue in the corner. But I do want to go in with a bit of a darker shadow liner. So I'm just going to take a random black eyeshadow here to do a little smoking against the lash line. And then after this, I'm just gonna curl my lashes, add mascara, and that Milani Shoop lip liner and lipstick. And then I'll be back to show you the completed look. And here is the final look. I personally really like mixing warm and cool tones, so even though it's a cooler toned eye, still a warm lip, and it looks a little bit like this. And then I tried to go, you know, a little bit like mid-tone, not too warm, not too cool on the cheek. It's a little warm leaning, but I feel like it still is cohesive and I feel confident in it. I like it all together. I might curl my hair a little bit. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how much time I have before I have to go, but this was really fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you and your family have a happy holiday, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!